Hello, Tom Kosnick, founding partner of the K.I.S.S Group, here with Jay Mattern, previous CEO of Peoplelink and current owner of Villing+Company. Jay, welcome.
Tom, it's a pleasure to be here, and I appreciate being invited to have this opportunity.
I'm really excited about the topic we're talking about, but before we get into that, number 35 on the top 100 list, Peoplelink. You grew it from a single office. Congratulations, fantastic. And now owner of Villing+Company. Just tell us a little bit about all that.
Well, yeah, when I retired as CEO at the end of last year from Peoplelink Group, and again, you hit all the right numbers. Had national presence, a rather significant footprint, and recognized in the industry. And I was in the staffing 100 the last 3 years running, and decided, okay, well, it's time to retire and take care of the horses and go to the farm and do all that stuff you do when you retire. But then I had after about 2 months, I had an epiphany that I got to have something to do. There's this nagging voice in my head that said, you're not done yet. And the timing worked out in such a way that the principal of Villing+Company, Tom Villing, who was a friend of mine, and also I was a client of his for the last 15 years of Peoplelink's run through the end of last year. So I knew Tom really well. We were friends, we were business associates, and he reached out to me and said, look, I know you've retired, but I'm going to retire too, and you need to buy my business. And so I, kind of went in kicking and screaming, but after I looked at the numbers and saw that, well, this has been a very profitable operation. And what really got me was, okay, that's that nagging voice. It says, you're not done in the industry yet. There's still something to be done in the industry. And so, my experience in marketing, how it helped our organization, how it helped Peoplelink grow, I thought, well, this is a great opportunity for me to give something back to the industry, for me to take this marketing company that's been around since 1982. I mean, it's been very successful, but to take it and extend it back to the industry and try to help those folks that are like we were, that were, hitting that ceiling and figuring out how do you scale to the next level. And one of the ways you can get there is, effectively integrate your marketing if you don't have it to start, and if you have it, to improve it.
Yeah, and it's been a pleasure having you on visiting our roundtables talking about this subject, and I've been so fascinated with this transformation that's happening in the industry, but specifically topic at hand, merging or successfully integrating marketing, sales, recruiting, the best-in-class staffing firms. They are getting it done,
Yeah.
And they're merging it to be the growth engine of their company. What are your thoughts on that whole process, and why do it?
Great question. And yeah, don't try this at home. This is this is more challenging than it sounds. And those folks that are doing it or that have done it, you know what I'm talking about. I think that where you have to start, though, is I think the first thing you have to do is you have to start with a clear understanding of why is it important. If you don't start there and say, why do we need to align sales and marketing? If you just dive in and try to do it, that's great. But if you miss the why, it's going to be difficult to connect the dots. So let me give you 3 thoughts about the why. First thing I think that's important in answering the question, why do this, is to improve the quality of your sales and your candidate leads. And so by appropriately targeting, this is probably the one area where profiling is okay. But by getting clear on the targets, your candidate, the ideal candidates, the ideal sales prospects, client prospects, by getting that really fixed and honed in and targeted, you're going to see a significant improvement in the quality of those, and that's going to lead, I think, then to, I think the outcome of that is a vast improvement in retention of both customers or clients and your contingent employee workforce. So if you've done your job and selected the more highly qualified candidates in both areas and sales targets, and you've executed then, which you probably have since they fit your niche. I think you're going to find that your retention numbers are going to be significantly improved. And I think that ultimately then leads to faster growth. And that's really, that's the ultimate reason, right? We want to get better quality leads. We want to turn those quality leads into retained accounts and retained employees. But the bottom line is we're looking for a way to jump the shark in terms of growth. There's a marketing company, a research firm called Serious Decisions that's looked at this very closely. Does a lot of work in sales and marketing alignment and research and doing data development. And one of the things that they looked at was just pure and simple. Let's compare firms that are properly aligned in sales and marketing against those that aren't. Now, of course, they had criteria that they had to identify. What does it mean if they're properly aligned? And we don't have time to go into all that. Just take my word for it that they had a pretty credible set of criteria that to identify companies that were properly aligned. So here's what they found out. Companies that had alignment in sales and marketing according to their criteria grew at a rate of 19% faster than those that did not. So that's great. That's the good news. The better news is, or the great news is, they were 15% more profitable than that other group. So not only are you talking about faster growth, but you're talking about the ability to to control your rates, to control your margin, and how, again, because you've got better quality leads, because you're retaining customers, you're satisfying, you're delighting your customers. It
makes a lot of sense. And gosh, we should. I need to do a podcast with you, Jay, because you and we've already spent several hours talking about this topic. But what one piece of wisdom would you like to leave with our listeners?
Well, I think everybody knows the acronym KISS, right? Keep it simple, silly, or I don't want to call anybody stupid, but the acronym to keep things simple. And I want to suggest that being simple can be strategic in a business setting. And one of the things that we struggled with at PeopleLink, as you continue to grow, organizations as they grow, they become more complicated, they become more complex, that things get unhooked, and everybody kind of runs in their own direction. And we constantly were fighting against that, trying to pull things back and trying to simplify and always fighting against that. And now that I'm in this on the marketing side, working with staffing folks, on their marketing programs, I see the same thing. I see them, they mean well. I mean, they dive in and buy certain software solutions or hire a bunch of people, or like we had a conversation, Tom, once about one of your clients that hired a person and then said, I don't even know what the hell they're supposed to be doing. I think simple really can be a strategy if you deploy it properly, and if you make a contribution or a commitment to be strategic in terms of being simplistic. So processes can be simplified, design can be simplified, strategy again can be very simple and yet be very effective. And so I would just say, look at what you're doing, and constantly I would say that, your C-suite needs to have a chief simplification officer. I think there needs to be somebody whose responsibility, maybe that's a bit overboard, but somebody who looks at how we're doing this to try to keep things simplified, because you're going to find it's going to be harder to scale to the next level if you try to drag all of these complex processes and systems along.
It's every day. There's more technology. The running and growing a staffing company is becoming more and more complex every day. So I like the message. Jay, thank you so much for joining us. I look forward to future conversations.
Thanks, Tom.